Yeah.
So, esteemed commissioners, thank you for giving me the opportunity to address you. I'll get right to the point. We appeal to the Commission to bring the treatment of India and Hinduism in the narrative in line with the standards for evaluating instructional materials for social content. The ethnic and cultural groups section of this state law requires teaching material to instill in each child a sense of pride in his or her heritage. The religion section instructs that no religious belief or practice be held up to ridicule and that no religious group be portrayed as inferior. It requires that students be allowed to remain secure in any religious beliefs they may already have. As you will hear, this is not what is happening to our Hindu children who find the section on India and Hinduism demeaning and hurtful, a problem not solved by the proposed draft. I'm here as an American citizen and a California Hindu. Like I said, I'm deeply concerned at the unfair, negative portrayal of Hinduism and Indian civilization in California textbooks. I find this vilification and negative portrayal and the egregious slighting of Indian civilization in world history as dishonest and frankly against the spirit of education. I think it is simply un-American. We are asking for fairness in this process. There is absolutely nothing in the textbooks about Hinduism that the practicing Hindu would recognize as Hinduism. I would go as far as to state that. There are some lofty ideals of cultural understanding mentioned in the framework and the standards, and I feel they are simply not being extended to Hindus and to people with Indian heritage. I urge you to please take urgent and necessary steps to ensure that the textbooks that our kids read. I also support the edits of Dr. Bajpai of Uberai Foundation.
Thank you. Hello everyone. My name is Bhavani and I work for University of California, Berkeley. As a parent of 7th grader, I am here to express my concern today. My daughter is feeling it difficult to openly talk about her religion because of what it is written in her 6th grade textbook. The information published in the book is not at all a Hindu perspective. As a citizen of America, I believe that each individual has the right to practice their religion, but I do not understand why Hinduism is singled out and misinterpreted. All I am requesting here is a fair treatment and social justice. I would like to see the corrections made for Hinduism in the 6th grade textbook in a similar way that the corrections were made to the other religions in the past. I have a positive hope that California Department of Education Instructional Quality Commission listens our voice today and take necessary appropriate actions. And I really support the edits made by Dr. Bajpai for 6th grade textbook from Uberai Foundation. We can use it as a baseline if needed. And in the 6th grade class, one of my daughter's father came to teach the social science because at least our daughter has exposure to not only to the textbook but also to the real Hinduism outside. So it is not fair to teach the wrong things and also portray only the negative things in the religion, but we deserve some respect and then corrections need to be made. Today, most of the students, like thousands, are reading every day and they're getting the wrong information regarding the Hinduism and getting the wrong message. So I request the corrections. And also, it can still be in the grade level, it can still be the subject specific. And also, I'm not asking to increase the length of the lesson or not go out of the subject specific. It can still be in the same length. I'm just asking for facts about Hinduism. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Sivakolundu Suresh, and I'm a resident of Fremont since 1987. I'm also the parent of 2 young women. One of them you just heard in 10th grade. And I wanted to address, to the Commission, the need to improve content in the textbooks pertaining to how Hinduism is presented to the 6th grade students. The current problems as I see it, I've tried to summarize them into a few brief bullets. Inaccuracies in the key tenets, concepts of karma, dharma, words that people know who are adults, but they're never taught and correct to the children who are learning them in 6th grade. There's also a stress on social problems and conflating that with religion. That happens in Hinduism texts in 6th grade today. And overall leaves a negative impression that it leaves in the minds of impressionable young adults or young children. So my recommendations are that, one, the commission or the content creators should move towards using information from scholarly sources with actual practitioners to improve accuracy in description of the practices and beliefs. Focus on the beliefs and practices and not on the social problems in societies. And finally, explain concepts in an age-appropriate manner and connect today's adherents to ancient philosophies, spiritual practices such as yoga, and other inner knowledge concepts that are hallmarks of the world's oldest religion. So I endorse the recommendation edits by the Hindu American Foundation and Dr. Bajpai of the Oberoi Foundation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, committee members. I'm very thankful that you have given me the opportunity to speak here. My daughter Ruhi came back from school very excited, ran straight to her room and picked up her history textbook. I was surprised and didn't understand what she was up to. As she looked into the textbook, her excitement started to dim. She came down and said, "The book is so wrong. They got it all wrong." I went up to her and asked, "What was wrong?" This is what she said. "Mom, we're learning about Hebrews and Judaism." And I was excited to see what they had about Hinduism. The book says, Lord Shiva has 3 eyes. This symbolizes being able to see events from a distance. Now, but doesn't Lord Shiva's 3rd eye symbolize wisdom and destruction from evil? Yes, I agreed. If God is omniscient, omnipresent, all-pervading, why does he need 3 eyes to see events? If you want to talk about symbolism in Hinduism, then please do it correctly, I urge. Please, people writing this should be more careful when writing a textbook that will influence 3.6 million young minds every year. This is especially important for a subject as sensitive as religion. The girl continued, "Who knows what else they got wrong? If parts of my religion are wrong, then how do I know if they are teaching other religions correctly? And if I put the correct answers that I have learned since I was 6, then on the test, that would be wrong according to the teacher and the book." Notice how the young girl has started questioning the authenticity of the content of her textbook. To stop this from happening, it must be a priority to include the correct symbolism and basic principles of Hinduism, like accepting the Vedas and the Holy Gita as the fundamental scriptures of life, law of karma, reincarnation, one God in various forms, as somebody already pointed out, and liberation as purpose of life through the 4 paths. Thank you so much for allowing me, and I hope that corrections would be made. Thank you.
Dear learned men and women, good morning. My name is Vishnu. I am from San Jose. My child is studying in 5th grade. So, I've been frequently teaching her after I come from office, and through that I got the opportunity to see the social sciences books from 3rd grade. So, one thing that I don't see is any reference to that Hinduism and India. So, one thing that I noticed in the books are that local topics are covered, which are to the California and to the US. So there are a lot of folks from here in the California and in the US. So one thing, these are the list. Swami Vivekananda is one of the important religions in the modern times. So he gave a speech in 1893 in the World Parliament of Religions. So that was one of the most celebrated, and he became a historical figure. So right here in the United States. And then regarding the folk arts and music, we can take that George Harrison and the team of Beatles. He was a follower of Swami Prabhupada, who is known to turn the hippies into a happy people, who actually gone into the drunk paths and then drug addicts. He turned them people and good guys. And right here in the California, Professor Alan Anderson of San Diego State University, he did quite important research on the Eastern religions, and he explained a lot in his books and videos. And there was a famous philosopher called Jiddu Krishnamurti. He lived here in the OJ, California, which is in Ventura County near Santa Barbara. So this Professor Alan Anderson had an opportunity, and he picked up and he met Jiddu Krishnamurti and had a series of lectures, I think about 2 decades ago. And I think they also got published in the TVs around that time, I believe. So yeah. So I would like the committee to consider these and include the text. Thank you.
My name is Arvind Kumar and I represent Kapim. To the Commission members today, I have this to say. You may believe that you are writing the framework for teaching history to school students, but in reality, you are authoring yet another chapter in the history of the civil rights struggles of USA through your actions of favoring Abrahamic religions while humiliating the Hindu children, using the curriculum as your weapon. Our points are very few, and if you wish, you can fix them. First, while Hinduism is taught through the lens of the anthropologist and the sociologist, Christianity and other religions get the theologian's view. In other words, they get the insider's view and Hinduism gets the outsider's view. Others have history of their religions. Hinduism is presented through a controversial theory about its origin. A chapter solely describing the beliefs of Hindus will fix this problem. Another point is that the social systems such as caste from the medieval era are taught in the ancient era so that Hinduism can be vilified. If you have trouble meeting the standards on this point and fixing the accuracy of the dates, you should delete this factual inaccuracy completely. Otherwise, it would amount to poor scholarship on your part. There are also no heroes from Hinduism in violation of the California Education Code. So it appears that you are aligning the document with the existing textbooks rather than the other way around. It's the textbooks that must follow the framework and not the framework that follow the textbooks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Nalini Rao, Professor of World Art in Soka University of America. As an historian and archaeologist, I would like to bring to the notice of the Commission and the Board the outdated and inaccurate theory about the roots of Hindu civilization, particularly about the Aryan invasion theory, based on an outdated secondary literature and colonial interpretation. The whole reason was because Max Muller came here and found affinities between the Sanskrit language and Latin, and he also found certain skeletons in the excavations. However, 50 years of research has shown that there was no invasion at all. I have recently brought out a 1,000-page edited volume on the Sindhu-Saraswati civilization and held an international conference on this topic, where eminent historians such as Kenoyer, Bish, Schaffer, Conrad Elst, and others have repeatedly proved that this was an indigenous civilization which celebrated pluralism, multi-ethnicity, and philosophical learning. Archaeological evidences are authentic, and their importance for the interpretation of Hindu civilization is of utmost importance for the understanding of students' parents as well as maintaining the integrity of historical truth. In regard to what was said by the Commission this morning regarding engaging the students about the curriculum, about the Hinduism, is that certain changes need to be made. Firstly, it is possible to engage the students with a piece of sculpture such as that of Shiva as Nataraja, where the students can understand larger concepts such as knowledge over ignorance, what is dharma, the 4 aims of life. Secondly, it is possible to make them understand by talking about yoga and what yoga is, the mind over the body, and how the great teachers who come from India and are still coming from India have given the West a very useful tool in order to uplift themselves. Thirdly, I do understand that a concept of mandala can be used to understand the monotheist as a religion. And lastly, veneration for environment can be used by quotes from the Upanishads. I would like to thank the Commission and the Board for their patient hearing.
Thank you.
As usual, my wife has nicely passed on her work to me. She is here. So please allow me to read out her speech. So her concern is about the lack of the topics regarding Hinduism and India. So I am reading out. I am concerned that the children will grow up not knowing anything about one of the greatest civilization and culture of the world, which has thought and practiced virtues like dharma, which is standing for the truth, and non-violence. One of the outstanding exemplary practitioner is Mahatma Gandhiji. I mean, he was. So Dr. Martin Luther King was deeply motivated by Gandhiji, and he visited India. And the current president of the United States, Mr. Obama, has a photo of Gandhiji in his office for the principles that Gandhiji stood for. So I would like to request you and urge you to consider the topics on Hindu religion and about India in the elementary school. So the effect of the lack of these are the following. The children feel confused and have doubtful identity about themselves and what they are and who they are. So I would like to request the committee again to consider about this. Thank you.
Thank you. Make a very short comment. I spoke earlier already. I hand carried with me about 300 letters of support, which I'm going to hand to Mr. McDonald. Just wanted you to know that.
Thank you.